Slender Man came out in 2018, and this was directed by Sylvain White. Sylvain White is a French director. He's known for directing The Losers, as well as I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, the third entry in that trilogy, which I reviewed on the channel for Last 31 Days of Horror. That one wasn't the greatest feat, but The Losers was actually really good. Now that's more on the action side of things, so this guy doesn't just dip into horror, but this is another horror entry from Sylvain White, and another one that definitely got trashed. I mean, 8% on Rotten Tomatoes trashed. And I always avoided it because it looked like one of those January style cheap horror movies, PG-13, targeting a certain demographic that I just wasn't interested in, even though it didn't come out in January. Just seemed like one of those, you know, cheap effects, lots of jump scares, not too scary, very tame, very mellow horror films. And everybody was talking shit about it anyway, so I just put it off. Not that I had absolutely no interest in it, but saw it streaming on Netflix, so perfect opportunity to watch it. What we have going on in this film is, of course, Slender Man. Everybody, he's like an urban legend already. Tall guy, gray guy kind of thing, no face, and usually wears like a black hat of sort. These teen girls, I will give this film credit where they actually got actresses and actors who actually look like high school kids. I think they range from like 19 to 23, but they legitimately look like high school kids. They don't look like they're in their 20s, in my opinion. And they don't look, like they don't fit in a high school setting. Even their dialogue. The script I'm mixed on because it's very silly and it's very tame, obviously, but it just comes across as hokey and gimmicky and just feels like kids wouldn't talk to each other that way, especially with the lack of cursing, because I'm sure they would be dropping F-bombs left, right, and center, but the dialogue doesn't feel natural, and it doesn't feel like high school kids would be talking that way. But at the same time, it kind of does. It kind of does fit in a strange way that social media era, where all the dialogue is just super chill and super aloof kind of thing. Like there's no depth to any way that they're speaking, which does relate. I sound so fucking ancient talking about like high school dialogue. But I don't know, it felt natural in certain ways, and it also felt gimmicky and goofy in other ways. But that just comes with the territory of a PG-13 film. Anyway, this group of girls are hanging out on a Friday or Saturday night, and the guys are hanging out somewhere else. And the girls know that the guys are wanting to basically summon Slender Man because they were talking about it all throughout high school. And the girls decide to do the same thing. So they watch this YouTube video that's very reminiscent of The Ring, and a lot of elements to this movie actually gave me The Ring vibes, the remake, the 2002 remake of the Japanese film. I liked that. I liked the cinematography going on in this film. It felt creepy. There's scenes as well, one in a graveyard in particular, where there's bells chiming and bells tolling, and they kind of use a sound modifier on the bell, so it kind of goes kind of thing, and it gives a really creepy aesthetic to the film. So I liked the atmosphere a lot. The Slenderman sucks. For the times that the Slenderman actually shows up, the Slenderman is full CGI and not scary at all. They don't utilize the horror in this film outside of the creepy feeling of it, which is a real shame, because this film could have been a very Ring-esque film, which is a great horror film, and they could have utilized that atmosphere and intensity of the background in the scenes, and even the music and the score, which was good as well, more to really create a creepy and eerie film. But they just throw in cheap looking Slender Man every once in a while, and there's a scene where he's chasing down this girl in a library, and then she like loses her face and loses her mouth, and she's just a blank gray slate. And I'm just like, everything's just very underwhelming. But anyways, back to the story. After watching this video, a week later, one of the girls, Katie, just vanishes. And she kind of, it's hinted that she wanted, like, she asked Slender Man to take her because she was very fed up with her alcoholic dad and her high school life and stuff like that. There's a scene where the alcoholic dad goes over to another one of the friends' house in a drunken stupor, and I think this girl's name is Hallie. Hallie. He goes up to her. He goes to her house, just walks in. He's in front of her bedroom door. She opens her bedroom door. She's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Where is my daughter?" And then he starts like going crazy, like, "Where is she?" I'm like, okay, I get the drunk and alcoholic grieving father thing, but that's ridiculous. Like, it's just so unrealistic and so forced and so silly that there's no tension to it at all. And I don't want to shit on this movie or anything because this movie actually surprised me on how not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was. Like, it wasn't horrible. There's a lot of elements in this movie, especially for its style, that is actually pretty good. It's not 8% bad. I think this movie was just popular to shit on, and it was like the thing that everybody loved to hate kind of thing. It's really not that bad. I'm going to be reviewing another film right after this review too that I actually didn't like as much, but everybody seemed to like a lot more. But yeah, essentially, Slender Man is just a really quickly made script to please to mass audiences, thrown in with a few cheap jump scares, and then just set to release. And I think they made a really big error and shot themselves in the foot by not putting more time into this film to actually bring out the creep factor, because they had it there and they could have worked with it like much better than they did. And I keep getting sidetracked with the damn story, but the damn story is pretty obvious. Katie disappears, like I said. Her dad is grieving, but the girls start to research more on Slender Man and try to find a way to defeat him. So they come up with the idea that bringing Slender Man something that's very personal to them and that they love will defeat the evil. They go to the forest and offer this thing that they love. It doesn't seem to work. Another girl disappears named Chloe. And then there's this girl named Ren who becomes very obsessed with the Slender Man, and she starts to get very like paranoid psychosis style, and all her friends are looking at her like she's actually taking this too far and just going crazy over the Slender Man and becoming obsessed. And Hallie, her best friend, so Hallie and Ren are the two like main characters of the film. Ren is the one going crazy, and Hallie is the one like thinking Ren is just taking this too far. There's a scene where this guy Tom asks Hallie out, and Hallie has like this huge crush on him, and it's so funny how she literally puts everything aside, including her sister and including Ren, her best friend, for this guy who just comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Hey, you want to hang out later?" And she's like, "Okay," and nothing else matters. Seriously, it's so stereotypical to like high school girl has a crush on the boy that she literally puts everything else on the side and just doesn't give a shit. It's just like fuck Ren and fuck her paranoia or whatever she's going through, and it's just ridiculous how it plays out. It's so stereotypical and funny to watch that you're just eye rolling the whole time. And then the other scene that got me too involving Ren is when she goes. I don't know if it's her computer or if it was Hallie's computer, but she starts to chat with this girl named Stray Cat or something like that, and it's a stranger online, but this stranger apparently knows, like, seems to know things about the Slender Man, and she just starts to have like this stranger contacts Ren, and Ren is like, "Who's this?" But instead of being creeped out about it, she's just so like intrigued and starts to communicate back and forth with this stranger called Stray Cat on some like chat room or something like that. It was just watching their conversation go on. I'm like, no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think stranger danger. I think this girl would not be super comfortable talking to this random who could be anybody, literally could be a poser, could be a fake account, could be somebody hacking the fucking laptop. Yeah, no, not realistic. Very stupid written film. Very cheap attempt at a horror movie, of course. But what's interesting is how much promise this film had, and there were times where it was creepy in atmosphere. It's too bad they didn't put more effort in creating the Slender Man to be more scary than he was, and just more time with the script, because this could have been a much better film. At least, you know, something higher than 8% kind of thing, and something that definitely would please more audiences. But they wanted to go the fast route, and it is what it is. But not as bad as people are making it seem to be, and one that should definitely be streamed at least, especially now that it's on Netflix. Just go check it out and make your decision for yourself. I mean, you still might think it sucks, but I think it's worth a watch, and even if I find it at a pretty good price, buyable, in my opinion. I don't think it's nearly as bad as the next movie I'm going to review. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.